Hello. So today for my STEM talk, I'm going to be talking about vaccines and the COVID vaccines that are available to us in the United States. So my presentation is titled Vaccines, the Road Back to Normalcy. So first I'll begin with why this topic and a little introduction about myself. So my name is Rachel, and I am personally very interested in the advancements in the medical field on a broader scope, as well as advancements that are leading to or contributing to sort of our current state in the global pandemic of COVID-19. So personally, I'm involved in help with vaccine distribution. So I feel like it is my part to advocate for what I believe in. And I feel that with the current state of the world, it's helpful to others to understand how we move forward and protect ourselves and our community. So first we'll sort of dive into what vaccines are available in the United States. So as of today, there are 3 vaccines that are available to us in the United States. And the first one was received its emergency authorization from the FDA, or the Food and Drug Administration, and that is the Pfizer vaccine. Secondly, we have the Moderna vaccine that received its emergency authorization on December 18th of 2020. And thirdly, just recently, the Johnson & Johnson received its emergency authorization on February 28th of 2021. So now we're going to dive a little bit into each vaccine itself. So beginning with the Pfizer, this vaccine is an mRNA vaccine. This type of vaccine is new to us in the United States. This particular mRNA vaccine is approved for individuals who are 18 years and older. It requires 2 doses to reach its maximum effectiveness, and these doses are required to be 21 days apart. And that maximum effectiveness is 95%, and that is reached 2 weeks after your second dose, as shown in clinical trials. So how do these vaccines work? So the vaccine works by introducing a molecule to the cells. This molecule is known as RNA. So this molecule teaches the cells to make a protein from the virus that causes COVID-19. So the body detects this protein and it triggers an immune response, and that thus creates antibodies as well as lasting immunity to fight future COVID-19 infections. One thing that's tricky about Pfizer's production as well as distribution is that it requires ultra cold temperatures. So it requires storing temperatures of -94 degrees Fahrenheit, and it only remains good for 5 days in a normal refrigerator. So secondly, we have the Moderna vaccine. This is also an mRNA vaccine. Again, a vaccine that's new to us in the United States. This vaccine, however, is approved for individuals who are 16 years and older. Again, requires 2 doses to reach its maximum effectiveness. However, these doses are 28 days apart. That maximum effectiveness for Moderna is 94.5% effective, again, after your 2 weeks after your second dose, again, shown in clinical trials. So how does this vaccine work? Again, because it's an mRNA vaccine, it works very similar to the Pfizer vaccine, introducing the RNA that then triggers an immune response, and your body is able to create antibodies protecting you from future COVID-19 infections. So the Moderna storage is potentially a little bit easier. It only requires -4 Fahrenheit or degrees storage. And once it's opened or once it's defrosted, it can be good for up to 30 days in a refrigerator or even 12 hours at room temperature. Lastly, we have our Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and this vaccine is known as an annovector vaccine. So this particular vaccine is approved for individuals 18 years and older. One thing that is really good about distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is it only requires 1 dose to reach its maximum effectiveness. So that maximum effectiveness is shown to be 72% effective in the United States. These clinical trials take place all over the world. So overall 72% was found in the US and the variants that we have here at this time. So how does this vaccine work? This vaccine also teaches your body to fight off invaders, but it does so in a slightly different manner. It uses a dormant adenovirus, which is the virus that causes the common cold, and it alters the DNA to be similar to COVID-19. However, this virus is unable to replicate, so it prevents you from getting ill from the vaccine or getting COVID-19 from the vaccine. So again, your body creates antibodies to deal with the perceived threat of a disease. And once the threat is gone, the body creates memory cells in the immune system so that it can remember how to fight off the virus if it's ever encountered again. So why should I get the vaccine? So all three vaccines went through extensive research and clinical trials to get to where they are today and to get the Food and Drug Administration or FDA emergency authorization that they did. So vaccines are what get us back to what we think of as normalcy. So they get us herd immunity. Herd immunity occurs when enough people become immune to the disease, which makes spread much more unlikely. So even though all these vaccines are safe, there may be some minor side effects that are helpful to know about. So those may include muscle pain, fever, tiredness, headache, and nausea. And again, if you have any specific personal questions, then you can always consult your healthcare provider to answer those. So what can I do once I'm vaccinated? So after 2 weeks following your second shot for the Pfizer and Moderna or the RNA vaccines, or 2 weeks after your one shot of Johnson & Johnson, you may do a few more potentially liberating things. You can gather indoors with others who are fully vaccinated. Again, that's 2 weeks following your second dose of the mRNA or the 2 weeks following the one dose of Johnson & Johnson. And you can do so without wearing a mask. Secondly, you can gather indoors with unvaccinated people from one other household that you trust without wearing a mask, unless any of the individuals involved are at an increased risk for illness. So one other thing that may be even potentially helpful in the healthcare setting is that if you've been fully vaccinated and you've been around someone with COVID-19, you've been exposed to someone with COVID-19, you do not need to stay away from others or isolate or even get tested unless you have symptoms. There's one catch to this sort of protocol, and that is if you live in a group setting. So if you live in a nursing home, for instance, or potentially a homeless shelter, then you do need to get tested and isolate. So you may be asking, what if I'm not eligible yet? So every state is different on their eligibility for who is able to receive their vaccine. So it may be the case that if you're a young, healthy individual, you may not be eligible to receive your vaccine at this time. And if that's the case, there are still ways that you can protect yourself and others until you are eligible to receive your dose or your doses, depending on which vaccine is offered to you. So first off, as we know, we can wear a mask when we're in public spaces, we're unable to keep our distance, and we're with individuals who we don't live with. Again, we can wash our hands for 20 seconds. That's shown to be the most effective. And lastly, as I said, you can keep a safe distance of at least 6 feet from those that you don't live with. So lastly, just here's a small page of resources, and most notably, my resources are from the FDA or the Food and Drug Administration and the CDC or the Centers for Disease Control. Thanks so much and stay safe.